Hey, I'm Russ.
And I'm Steve.
Growing up in the 80s, we were introduced to video games, movies, and technology that made a lasting impression on us and forever enriched our lives.
I think I'm gonna cry.
It's been a fascinating journey to be a part of, one that we constantly treasure.
Higher, booty.
Our goal is simple: share our magical moments of discovery and geek out with lovely folks, just like you.
Achievement unlocked.
So if you crave pixel goodness, memorable moments, and experiences that make your inner child do the happy dance, you've come to the right place.
Let's do this.
Welcome to Joygasm.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Joygasm. My name is Russ, Xbox Live Toaster 360, and I'm here with my kinfolk, Steve, aka Xbox Live Stevavitch,
What's happening?
as we kick off episode 5 on this Mayo, the 13th of 2017. Steve, how you doing?
Russ, I'm doing great.
Oh,
How about yourself?
I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. I'm glad it's the weekend.
I'm well rested. I feel good. No dreams last night.
No dreams.
No dreams.
Have you been dreaming a lot lately?
Well, yes, but all my dreams don't make any sense, and they go so fast that I don't remember a thing. I just feel a little exhausted in the morning because my mind's been running 100 miles an hour.
Maybe a little violated?
I don't know if I go that far.
Oh.
I don't know about that, Russ.
Well, that's good.
How about you?
Well, I'm glad that it's the weekend. I've been working my buttocks off. Buttocks! And the past 2 weeks at work at my day job have been pretty intense. It's been a lot of fun, though. We've been doing a lot of production work on various personas and prototypes and whatnot. And so I am glad, like I said, that it's the weekend. I can kind of shut down a bit, veg out a bit, spend some quality time with you.
Yes, indeed. You know, something I gotta tell you. You sound very positive. That's a good attitude to have at work.
Oh. Well, Steve,
You gotta see the good in life, Russ.
I'm a glasses half full kind of guy. I always like to try and see the good things in situations and people and just life. Even if it offers me a crap sandwich, Steve, I noticed the
You're just grateful to eat.
I noticed the protein that didn't get digested. So,
Gosh.
yeah. No, I'm good.
There's a nut in this one. How lucky am I?
The enzymes on this is pure quality. It's great.
Gosh.
I think it's probably a side effect of just having to change as many diapers as I have. Oh, this is a healthy poo. Good. Anyway.
Moving right along.
Yeah. What kind of games or movies have you been playing / watching lately?
I haven't not watched any movies, but I will tell you I stayed up a little late last night.
How late?
About 2:30.
Wow, okay.
I wanted to beat Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed, Steve?
It was the...
Which one?
Assassin's Creed Syndicate. It's the one in London.
Okay. Yep.
So I finally got that out of the way. And
What's the latest one?
that is the latest one.
That is the latest one.
That is the latest
Okay.
one. They released a movie, which I've yet to see. I don't know if I'll see it. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't.
With Michael Fassbender, is that how you
Yeah, it's
pronounce
the
his
guy
name?
who plays the younger Magneto in the X-Men.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of his.
So maybe I'll see that on Netflix or something. But yeah, the games, the later Assassin's Creeds have kind of, I don't know, they've been okay. They've been so-so. Assassin's Creed 3 was the first one that I played.
Mm-hmm.
That one was awesome. Assassin's Creed Black Flag, a lot of people didn't care for it. I loved it.
Yeah.
Since it was the next one was on Xbox One and PS4, like the later systems. That was the one where you're in old France, and I'm trying to remember the name of it, but I don't.
Did that come out in like 2012 or 2013? There was one where I thought that there was one that took place in France And there wasn't there another one that took place in like America, like during like
that was the third one.
okay.
That was Assassin's Creed 3. That one was good.
Yeah.
It seems like ever since Assassin's Creed 3, or maybe even Black Flag, they've seemed more concentrated on graphics than story. Because the story, you could take it or leave it. I don't even know if I really want to take an attempt and explain it, because my thing is, if you can't make sense of it to a fifth-year-old or a fifth grader, it's probably too complicated. And these games have like two different stories all molded into one, and somehow they make sense. But throughout the whole entire game, you're kind of doing the same things all over again, and then it just kind of wraps up at the very last bit. So
yeah, I've never really been able to track the storyline itself. To be fair, I haven't played. I think I've only played one or two of the Assassin's Creed games, and I just, for whatever reason, I think I just had so many other games I was playing, I just never really had a chance to finish it. However, I really did appreciate the game mechanics of just the organic flow of just being able to scale different buildings and towers and fences, and just all of that was really cool. You could tell that they have kind of revolutionized more of the third-person action adventure style genre.
well, the architecture is beautiful.
Oh yeah.
And that's probably the best aspect of the game, because they've made the buildings and statues, and if it's a cobblestone street or something, that's the best part of the game. You can just look in awe.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I've taken screenshots and sent them to you. Actually, I think I took one last night because I was finishing the game and I was on top of some Catholic church steeple. Oh yeah, here it is. So no one was going to be able to see this, but you can see it. So I mean, look at the detail
cool.
in all the buildings and in the background and whatnot. I mean, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
So it's a game to marvel at with all the scenery.
And this is London.
This is London. This is old London, and these are game graphics.
How is it?
It is.
Oh, it was bloody good, it is.
It's bloody good.
I could tell is it perhaps like during the Industrial Revolution?
And the industrial period,
I could tell about all the smokestacks.
You see you see the manufacturing going on, and you got the construction of the buildings.
Right.
It's really early period times.
Quite right. Spot on, I say.
Yes. Jolly good.
Jolly good indeed. I mean, the architecture is very much distinguishable from other architectures.
Indeed.
I noticed a little tutor in there. Love the stonework, the brick, whatnot.
I think I got some other ones here, but we can move on.
Did you play anything else, or
No, that was it.
that was it?
I just wanted to get it over with and beat it. And I don't know if I'll go for the next one coming up. I think they're going to Egypt next time.
Oh,
Because they are in Spain, I think, in the past, and I didn't play those. And then they went to old style America, and then they went to kind of more Pacific Island kind of dealio, Havana.
okay.
And then they went to France. Oui, oui. And then they went to London, and now I think they're going to Egypt.
Okay.
So I don't know. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I think I picked the last two games up for like $25 each on like a Black Friday at Target or something.
Okay.
So kind of glad I didn't spend $60 just because at the end of the game, you don't really feel that rewarded.
Was this game designed from the ground up to be a next-gen game, or was it also released for like the Xbox 360 and PS3?
It was designed to be from ground up to be for next-gen systems.
So did you notice the graphics fidelity was improved quite a bit?
Yes and no. It's definitely improved, but they used the same engine from the first game. So...
Oh, they did. They didn't build it from the ground up.
No.
Okay.
I mean, both games were for next-gen systems,
Yeah.
but the first next-gen game, the game in France, was the same engine that they used in this game, in the current game. So
I
they
see.
didn't really progress from there.
I see. Okay.
They just made a whole new story.
Nice.
So
I'm curious about it because that was one of the things I kind of logged away in my cerebellum was when I was playing one of the older games for the 360, I was just kind of extrapolating that forward thinking, man, these environments are going to look pretty killer.
Yeah.
As each next gen system comes out, and they're able to just cram more polys in there, higher text resolutions, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
So, well, cool. I've gotten farther in Horizon Zero Dawn.
Okay.
I was stuck, and I'm trying my best to describe this for you, but like there's like a side quest where I am attempting to hack into a core. Then there's I think there's 5 or 6 cores, but essentially each one that you successfully hack into, it then unlocks like a certain roster of creatures from the overall Horizon bestiary, which is great because right now all I can do is hack into the one creature. After doing this, now I think I can hack into like 5 or 6, somewhere around there. But what was cool is that I was stuck at that boss battle. In fact, I think I was talking to you on the phone when I encountered it, and all of a sudden I realized I totally signed off in terms of like having a conversation
I was
with
like,
you.
I'm talking to myself.
Yeah, just sorry about that. I think I had a realization as I was getting my butt kicked. I was like, I'm fighting a boss here. I should probably get going. Priorities, you know how it goes.
Yeah.
But anyway, I finally beat the Fire Bellow back, is what it's called, in the side quest, and was able to hack into my very first core.
Congratulations.
I gotta say, I'm proud of myself. Those creatures are pretty tough.
Those bastards.
The cybernetic little bastards.
But they really do. I unloaded so many arrows and traps and whatnot into this thing, and so I felt accomplished. I'm not gonna lie. But by the time that thing came crashing down, I was like, "Yes, you're mine now, bitch!" But but it was I'm pretty excited about that, and so now I'm all pumped to like try and find some of those other creatures to hack into so I can ride them, and I'm actually kind of curious to see what type of attack abilities they have and stuff. So and the game is just so gorgeous. I know I keep saying that over and over again, but every time I get to a new section, I'm just completely blown away by the amount of detail in the graphics and the ambiance, the atmosphere, everything else. At some point, if you're interested, you should certainly sit down and give it a shot. 'Cause I think you'll enjoy it. Did you ever play any of the Tomb Raider games recently, like Rise of the Tomb Raider?
No. Well, I mean, I played demos and I've watched you, but I haven't played them myself.
Okay, because I have those games too. If you wanted to give them a shot for Xbox One, and those are
It's
good.
very
too.
kind of you, Russ.
I'm
I'm a kind-hearted man. Especially for you.
In addition to that, I've been getting back into Forza, which, by the way,
Our good old friend Brad.
Yes.
You know of who I speak of, don't you?
he's also a big Forza fan. And I did not know this until just this week, but he informed me that actually the correct pronunciation, I guess you say, of the word Forza, I'm used to saying Forza, is actually it's Italian. It's Forza.
Yeah, it's like almost like a silent T.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And so he would tell me, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess I better start saying it correctly. So Forza. But every time I hear that, I just want to like bust into Italian, like Forza, baba da boopy, baba da beepy, baba da mero.
Driver della Lamborghini.
Lamborghini, Ferrari.
Bibidi babidi boobidi.
I got some spaghetti over here. But yeah, I was playing Forza Horizon 3 Hot Wheels Edition, which I know I mentioned earlier in a previous episode.
Wait a minute. You didn't invite me over for this, man?
I played it last night.
And you didn't invite me over.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry to be...
Do better than that.
I'm sorry I disappointed you, Steve.
Go on. Anyway, you have got to check this out. Like, it is pretty freaking sweet. The game itself, like...
Well, I bet it is, Russ. I wish I could have been there for the initial experience.
I'm sorry, Steve. But yeah, like they do the typical thing that I love in Horizon 3, where every time you go to a new section of the game, they did like with Blizzard Mountain. Remember when you were actually over here when I first experienced Blizzard Mountain? Do you remember that, Steve?
I do.
Okay. remember like how I went on that joyride like before there was any kind of racing that was tracking me or anything like that. And that's one of the things I just absolutely love about Forza Horizon 3 is that
Forza.
oh, you caught me. I'm sorry, it's a Forza. With Forza Horizon 3, every time you go to a new
Forza.
Every time that you go to a new section, it will allow you to kind of have like this joyride. Like you'll be in a race, but it doesn't count toward anything. It's just kind of showing you the ropes kind of thing. But like the previous Forza games never did that. And at least, okay, I played up to Forza 5, so I don't know if they did that in Forza 6, but I'm pretty sure this is something that's kind of more of a Horizon thing. And it sounds kind of cheesy, like just what I'm going to say about it, but like,
it, Russ.
it's so fun to be able to get into the game itself, like doing that kind of race where like they're like, hey, welcome to this area. This is what it's all about. And it's an opportunity for the game to show off its splendor in that particular section of like the world map or whatever. And so you're not so focused on trying to get first place as you are just having a joyride of a time. And by the time you hit that finish line, you are absolutely pumped to like get into all of the different types of races that have been unlocked for you for that. Because it's just fun, like being able to see that, like, and of course each one of those races has a purposeful kind of scenic journey where like, you like hit some sort of crest or ridge and all of a sudden you see like this gorgeous landscape down below and you have these amazing jumps. And I mean, the whole thing is just fantastic. It's just great.
Does it make you feel like you're playing with Hot Wheels? Like a kid again, only you're behind the wheel?
So with the Hot Wheels, it does. It's actually really fun. It's like this like adult version of Hot Wheels where like it taps into your inner child of back in the day when you would collect all the cool little hot rods of Hot Wheels. Right. And they're all like, they're kind of ostentatious, but in a really cool, fun way. Like just all the little doodads and decals and stuff like that are on the cars. I mean, you could tell that they partnered up with Hot Wheels and they did a great job. And what's cool about it is that it's because it's like this actual track. And the way that they're presenting it is they're still building the track, so there are certain parts that are locked. And then, of course, as you gain points and that sort of thing, then magically, another section of the track will be completed, and then you can start racing those tracks. But I mean, you're doing loop-de-loops. You're doing, a lot of these almost like not quite corkscrews all the way, but although I'm thinking there probably will be those later on down the road. But you're going like you're taking almost 90-degree vertical track points if you're going up or if you're going down, or you're almost going, flipping 45 degrees, that sort of thing. It is genuinely fun. And especially when I started using some of my more faster exotic cars that I've already unlocked, you are screaming down this track. And it's just exhilarating. You're just watching this track go. In a weird way, I kind of got a little hint of Sonic the Hedgehog just because of the loop-de-loops and that sort of thing when you're going super fast. They also have these parts on the track where they give you boosts. So all of a sudden you get this like this crazy, almost nitrous style boost.
Just about to ask you about that.
And that's also very similar to Sonic in the past, that sort of thing. But I don't want to like give folks the wrong impression. It's not like a Sonic the Hedgehog game. It's just that was kind of an echo I felt going on specifically like the loop-de-loops and that sort of thing. It is seriously though really fun. The only thing that I would say is a bit of a kind of a mental note is that in Forza Horizon series, it's very open world. You can drive anywhere you want to go, and that's fine. Whereas like with the more traditional Forza series, you're kind of you have race, and you're kind of on this kind of predetermined track.
Right.
So what's interesting in the Hot Wheels edition is that for the most part, you're on a track, and at that point, you realize just how much you enjoy the freedom of just being able to drive wherever it is you want to drive at any point in time, and you're not penalized for it. You can fall off the track, which is also fun too. It's thrilling because if you're not going fast enough, or if you take a turn too hard and you hit it, you're gonna fall off. And there's like, depending on where you are, you might be in a city somewhere, you might be over the ocean or something, and so you have that kind of. But luckily, you have your rewind.
Yeah.
So you just go. Okay, let's keep going. So they also have like rings of fire. Like there will be parts in the race where like you're going pretty high up and you're driving through like a skyscraper portion of the city, but you're super high up, and then there will be like this jump where like there's no track under you, and it does the whole cinematic slowdown, and then you go through these rings of fire. And
Dukes of Hazzard style.
Yeah, yeah. Now these boys aren't really sure what they're going to do.
That's right.
Tune in next week, find out if they survive. And of course, they always survive. So yeah, you're going to have to definitely check that out. Other than that, the wife and I, we continue watching Vikings, which is cool. We're getting back on track again. We're making our way through season 3. A lot of messed up stuff is going on. I know that we are a bit behind, so I don't want to give really too many spoilers away because there may be people who are like me who are trying to catch up and whatnot. But lots of movement going on, lots of things happening. I don't think you've actually watched it either. So
No, but when I signed online last night, I did check to see if you were playing Overwatch. And then your Xbox said you were, I think, on Amazon Prime or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, so I thought, he's with a wife. I'll leave him alone. I'm not going to text him. I'll just play Assassin's Creed and do my thing.
Yeah. No, it was good times. It was good times. So, and another TV series that I need to get back on track with is Gotham. And I was doing really well with that, and that was just another series that I fell off the bandwagon with, but I'm looking to get back on. So
That was a nice hiccup, Russ.
I'm.
That was a nice. I need to get back on the bandwagon.
That was just my bean and cheese burritos popping back up to say hello before kind of going right back down.
I'm sitting right across from you, so I'm getting all that bean and cheese burrito.
So let's see here. I think that's about it. Shall we transition into gaming news, Steve?
Go right ahead, Russ.
Let's see here. Well, even though we didn't play any Overwatch, we actually do have some pretty interesting news. I was looking at how on IGN.com was reporting this, by the way. There has been some data mining going on that reveals there will be a Game of the Year edition and anniversary event, which makes sense because the game is almost 1 year old. I'm not sure what the exact date is. I might have it in my notes. But they were going on talking about how the website called True Achievements discovered that Overwatch's first birthday will have a Game of the Year edition set for release on May 23rd, which is coming up pretty soon. And that is actually a day before its May 24th first anniversary. But with the anniversary edition, they are going to have what they call anniversary loot boxes. And in terms of the Game of the Year edition, like if you haven't bought the game or if you're thinking of buying it, apparently it's identical to the Origins version. But I think it comes with like 10 free loot boxes, so it kind of gives you some extra swag. And I think there are some other cosmetic bonuses that they do, but it's the same game. You're not going to be having some sort of crazy new game type or mode that you're going to be missing out on. But the anniversary loot boxes will include over 100 new items, and they'll be available until June 5th. So, if you think about like in the past, Overwatch events have lasted about 3 weeks or so, which can mean that the anniversary event may start as early as next week. So, yeah.
We need to get on it then.
I know. We need to get on it. I need to save up those gamer credits and start capturing some freaking flags. Unlock those loot boxes. Actually, that's not going to matter. Because they've done that thing where, like, depending on when you unlock a loot box or when you score a loot box, it then gets assigned to that particular... There's like a date stamp or something. So, like, if you have, like, the anniversary edition come out, and like, so let's say you had like 10 loot boxes that you haven't opened, those will still stay like the normal base version of the loot box. They will not transfer over to the anniversary ones. Only during those like 2 or 3 weeks will that happen, which I can kind of see where their rationale is coming from with that. But at the same time, I'm like, come on.
Come on!
So,
But whatever. I mean, even if you open up the loot boxes and don't get what you want, you still get credits.
that's true.
So if you save up your credits, you can still buy stuff. Maybe.
Yeah.
It's not like 5 million coins or whatever. So you can still acquire what you want to acquire,
That's very true, yeah.
basically.
I remember there was a time where I had something like 30 loot boxes that I just didn't open, and it was just nice to go through all of them. But now I'm just, every time I get one, I'm like, insta open. And I'm just like, oh, I don't have any more to open. As a side note, too, the game director, Jeff Kaplan, has made it fairly clear that Symmetra will finally receive a new legendary skin. So I'm curious about that one because she's actually got...
A lot of bad costumes.
Yeah. Well, okay, there is that one that I like that I think I've unlocked it. It's with the skulls and stuff. I thought that one was pretty cool. And there's a variant of that, too. I think it's more of a red color. Like, one is like kind of a pale white or something. The other one's more of a reddish color. I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah.
There's certain characters that they need something good.
Right?
They need something good. I mean, Lucio, pretty much all pretty terrible costumes. Symmetra, maybe even Soldier 76. I mean, what color do you want his jacket? Like, do something with the guy.
Yeah. You could tell that certain characters have been given the love treatment more than others. Like Roadhog has awesome costumes.
Reinhardt has awesome costumes.
Torbjorn has awesome costumes.
Torbjorn has awesome costumes.
Yeah. I mean, Diva's got some cool ones. But like Farah, for instance, like Farah has some cool ones. I really liked a few of the ones, but I feel like she's one of those characters who could use some additional ones because a lot of the ones that she has are just kind of color changes to her base outfit or uniform. So I'm hoping that in the future they'll have some cool ones out there for them. I think, and I'm sure that there will be. Junkrat actually has quite a few cool outfits as well.
Yeah, he's got some okay ones. You have to like the real expensive ones are obviously very, very cool, like the Mad Scientist and whatnot. But usually, like from like the 75 credit ones to the 250 credit ones, they're okay. You know, a lot more. I'm learning to speak here. A lot of the characters, when you get into a higher value costume, even if it's not the most expensive one, it does change up a bit, and it's noticeable. Yeah. Other times you go, okay, here's a more expensive costume, but all we did was just change 2 colors. And you're going, I don't know if it's really worth it. I mean, one of the great costumes that came out recently during what was the last one called? It was just Uprising. Uprising,
yeah. Was Widowmaker's new skin where she looked a bit more like human, like she had the pale skin thing. Yeah. That is a sweet outfit. Actually, there are a few of hers too that are really, really cool. I would give her like 50% of them are like super cool, and the other 50% are kind of like, they're just doing color changes and that sort of thing. But yeah, there are so many characters to think about within that game that just, I mean, we could spend quite a bit of time going over. But anyway, moving right along. Got some Halo 6 news, and it's not the best.
Great.
Halo 6 will not be at this year's E3. I was hoping it would be just because they will probably demonstrate the Xbox Scorpio. Yeah. And I was hoping that maybe it would be like a launch title, but 343 Industries said the next installment to the Halo series won't be at E3 this year. In a post on Reddit, 343 community manager Brian Gerard said that while the studio will have something at this year's E3, it will not be tied to Halo 6. So I'm not exactly sure how to take that, but it sounds like maybe they have another like ODST style game that they're going to come out with. That's just, I mean, once again, if that's the case, it's not going to be Master Chief, and the fans want Master Chief. Right. So I'm not sure. I'm just going to reserve my judgment on that and see just what they kind of tease us with. But how do you feel about that? I mean, you were a fan of the ODST game when it came out.
Yeah, I was, but since I haven't really cared for Halo 4, and I haven't played anything of Halo 5 yet. Yeah. So being that as it may, if they bring out an in-between title, I still don't think I'd even pick it up. I'd have to play Halo 5 first to really know the story and the background, because if it's just lock again, been there, done that.
What if it was like just taking a cue from like the ODST games where like you're not even like a Spartan, you're just like one of the Marines, for instance?
I'd have to see it.
Yeah.
Because I'm still going off of Halo 4, which I didn't care for.
Yeah. Okay. There was a quote from Brian Gerard here. I just wanted to read real quick. It says, "I'll slip into my Dream Crusher persona for a minute in the name of realistic expectations. We've said this already, but we will have a little something at E3, but it's not related to the next major entry in the franchise." So that's kind of the, not a lot of wiggle room to think, oh, they're going to have something else that to surprise us with in terms of Master Chief getting teased or whatnot. So moving on to one of the more major topics at hand here is that there is a mobile game called Bit Heroes.
Yes!
Which is now available. And developer Jupio Mins has released their first mobile game, which is a vast new MMORPG world inspired by your favorite 8-bit and 16-bit dungeon crawlers. I'll just read the little bit of the description here. It says, collect and craft thousands of pieces of loot to increase your power. Build your team by capturing monsters and bosses to fight at your side in old-school, turn-based combat. Prove you're the mightiest hero in the land by competing in the PvP arena, raids, and weekly events for awesome prizes. Take your most powerful friends and guildmates along to battle at your side. So this is a game that I'm giving out a shout out to my good buddies Sean Byers and Jay Stark, who I've worked with in the games industry, and they together, the dynamic duo, over the past 2 years have painstakingly created this game, and it's kick ass, man. Like, I think both of us were giving it a go last night. It launched on May 11th for both the iPhone and Google Play. And
to be noted, sorry to cut you off.
Oh, you're good.
I would have slapped me if you cut me. Yeah. Anyway,
I would have just given you a Jolly Rancher.
it's on iTunes or the App Store's like top 10 list right now.
Which one?
It's like on apps we love. Like it's featured if you launch at the App Store, it's featured right there.
Yeah, and if you go on the Android, the Droid, it's like one of the main banners at the top. I mean, like they absolutely just came out with a bang.
Yeah,
and good way to go. It's super cool. Like I was going through, I've already got like the makings of my motley crew. So going through the characters, getting an idea of it. But the game is so easy to play.
Right.
You just jump right in, and even the user experience is great because they're just kind of doling out these little pointers. Hey, this is how you level up. Hey, this is where you go to equip or unequip. Hey, this is how you barter. And it's so organic in the overall game that I never have felt lost or confused or am grinding through the game to a point where all of a sudden I just happen to stumble upon like a way to do something and I could have done it earlier. Like it's a great way of not spoon feeding me, but just hand holding me like, oh, hey, by the way, there's this if you want to do this.
Reminds me a lot of playing the Game Gear.
Yeah, there's that. Well, it's just a great throwback to like the 8-bit, 16-bit day of video gaming. But it's kind of cool too because the graphics, even though it's got that 16-bit, pixely kind of look, it also has kind of a current pixely pop. I don't know, for lack of a way of saying it, but the game itself is just super easy to get into and start playing. One
thing I like a lot, and I very appreciate the way they did this, is in certain RPGs, you can get new equipment, new swords, new armor, whatnot. Mm-hmm. Many RPGs, you would buy the piece or you discover the piece and you equip it, but you don't see it. Mm-hmm. You don't see it at all. You just know you have it equipped, and therefore your stats are buffed, your defense or your agility or whatever. Mm-hmm. So in this game, if you buy or you discover or you loot or whatever a new piece and you equip it, you can see it on your character.
Yeah.
And so you can kind of see your character change and mold, and
Right.
you know, and to me that's a big thing.
That was one of the refreshing aspects of the game too, was that even during the create a character screen, I mean, this is a mobile game,
Right.
but it has a lot of the expectations of what you'd see in like a next gen console game. So like the create a character screen, you have all kinds of customizations at your disposal. I mean, I was just having a blast, just like kind of creating my little badass character.
You know what's kind of cool too is, I mean, first of all, when the opening sequence happens that shows the developers and the producers' names, right? That's cool. But then when you see the title screen of the game, you know, every game's going to have their own little thing, but you have random characters going across the screen all the time. So every time you load the game, it's going to be different.
Yeah.
Because you're going to see different little dudes that they've made.
Right.
Basically walk around, you're like, I've never seen that thing before. You know.
Yeah.
It's kind of rewarding.
Yeah, it's super cool. I think it's going to be a game that we'll be able to talk about multiple times in the future as we kind of progress through it, because it's a dungeon crawler. So you're going to be just, you know, all about collecting the loot and the swag and just being able to also, I've barely scratched the surface of it, because like I said, I just started playing it last night. How far are you?
I'm at level 12, Russ.
Oh.
How about you?
I think I'm at level 5.
Well, I guess we know who has less of a life.
But if it's that kind of life, that's the best kind of life to lead.
Right.
But yeah, I want to try out some of these other features that the game boasts, because I think it's going to be pretty cool. I tried to actually get into the arena and I was denied. I walked over there and he's like, yeah, you're a wimp and you need to come back in a bit.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. Come on, Bat. Come on, Ghost. Come with me.
It's kind of funny because the one time that I met Sean,
Yeah.
it's funny because that's all I have, but I can hear him speaking through the game in a way on the dialogue. I don't know how. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, it's incredible to me to watch these guys be able to hash this thing out into a tangible product, because it's just, that is a tremendous amount of work for just 2 people to do. And Sean handled all of the art for the game, and then Jace handled all the programming code, all that kind of stuff. And so definitely you guys need to go out and give Bit Heroes a try, because it's super fun. And actually, I have not really been playing a whole lot of mobile games lately, and now this is kind of bringing me back into the fold.
I know you haven't, Russ. I've been disappointed.
How do you know?
Because I've been telling you about Clash of Clans and Clash Royale and other games that I play, and you're like, yeah, but the mobile games? Oh, okay, yeah, well, let's go back to Xbox. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely nice to kind of go back in. And it speaks highly of the game too, because that's how easy it is. I can like sit down, like my daughter will be in my lap watching, I don't know, Tumbleleaf or something on Amazon, and I'll be able to just play it like one-handed and just go through, you know, collect loot and just destroy monsters, persuade. I like that whole idea too of how you can like persuade enemies to like join your team.
Right.
And you can see like there are times when perhaps you can't persuade them, and so there's other ways of trying to get them to, you know, be convinced to join you. Otherwise, you just kill them off or whatever. I mean, you could tell there are intelligent decisions that were made that, you know, as you progress further into the game, it's just going to be that much more in depth and more of a rewarding experience. And I've seen, actually, I'm still trying to figure this part out, but like in like kind of the lobby area, it's not a lobby, but it's like where you start out, there are other people with like names and like levels. Like I've seen people with much higher levels than either one of us already, which is,
right.
I mean, I know they did like kind of a soft launch early on, so I don't know if it's those players that are just that much farther along, or if the people who first downloaded the game, they've just been playing it nonstop, because I'm just like, my gosh, how'd you get that high? So definitely cool. And I think what I'm going to do is I'd like to try and see if I can get Sean and Jace on the show. It'd be really fun to be able to have an interview with them and let them tell their story. I think that'd be really nice.
Indeed. Invitation sent.
Click the like button. Anyway, we're going to segue over to the movies. And TV. Actually, this particular segment is going to be more geared toward TV than movies because there are quite a few interesting little headlines on here. But first and foremost is King Arthur is in theaters this weekend. Have you heard of this movie?
No, but King Arthur's been kind of rebooted a bunch.
Right, but this time,
Yeah.
Guy Ritchie directed it.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, Guy Ritchie, like Snatch Guy Ritchie, like, Sherlock Holmes Guy Ritchie. So
Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
Yeah.
Guy Ritchie. Okay.
Yeah, like I'm a big fan of Guy Ritchie, and
He's been gone for a while. All right, I hadn't heard anything about that. His movies.
I don't know if the last film he made was the sequel to Sherlock Holmes, because he did do that sequel, but that was at least a few years ago. I don't know if he came out with anything since that I haven't heard of. I'm usually pretty up to date. Well, perhaps you should IMDb it on your phone.
Oh, I'll IMDb it.
IMDb it. But
Continue.
I will continue. Anyway, I think it's a great opportunity for a director like Guy Ritchie, who in the past he has done films that the plot lines kind of revolve around a simple idea. Like Snatch, for instance, is like this concept of there's this huge diamond and everyone's trying to get it. But what has always happened in his films is he has these wonderful characters. Like it's very character focused. Like in Snatch, I think they had something like a dozen characters or close to that. I'm trying to remember how many there were. If we were to count this out, what was it? There was Gorgeous George, Turkish, Tommy.
You
You had Bricktop. You had Bullet Tooth Tony.
Yeah.
You had what was that guy? The Russian, the Bullet Dodger.
Yeah, Boris.
Boris, the bullet dodger.
What's he do?
Dodges bullets, Tommy.
Avi.
He dodges
Abby, that's another one.
And Avi was that was number 7.
You would have said Frankie Four Fingers, right?
No, that was number 8.
That's Benicio del Toro.
Yeah.
Let me solve Benicio.
And who else is there? There's
Doug the Head.
Doug the Head. That's 9. Yeah.
Vinny and Soul.
Vinny and Soul. That's 11. You had Brad Pitt's character Mickey.
Oh, of course.
I didn't make a play.
Yeah.
So now you're past you're past a dozen.
Don't forget Tyrone.
Oh, Tyrone. You fart bastard.
Who else is there? And I think we're up to 14.
Right. There's a lot of other small characters. Vinny, Doug the Head.
Yeah, we already said that.
Yeah. Mullet.
Mullet. Who was Mullet?
Oh no, he yeah.
Yeah. That was probably Mickey's friend.
Yeah, one of Mickey's friends.
And he was more of a secondary character, but yeah, I mean that's a great example of just a film by Guy Ritchie where like by the end of the film, I mean you just love all the characters and they all have great lines.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see what he's going to do with King Arthur because King Arthur is going to be a bit more of I'm guessing it's probably going to be a bit more of a serious drama.
Yeah.
As opposed to his other stuff, which, I mean, that is a bit of a departure for Guy Ritchie because typically he does kind of that stylish spin on stuff, like whether it's Snatch or even Sherlock Holmes has kind of that cool spin, that Guy Ritchie flavor to it.
You know what else he did? I remember this movie coming out, but I never saw it.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I
I need to watch that. The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Yeah, The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
I need to check that out. I remember seeing that, and then I just, never got a chance to go to the theater. And so that's probably his most recent film before King
that was
Arthur.
2015.
Okay. Yeah. And then in terms of the cast, I can't remember who all is in it, but I know the guy from Sons of Anarchy is the main character.
Who, for King Arthur?
Yeah.
Oh, well, here you go.
Oh, yeah, Charlie Hunnam. I met that guy too.
Oh, did you, Russ?
I did.
Why don't you be name dropper guy?
Consider it dropped and picked back up and dropped again.
Let's see. Oh yeah, Jude Law. Jude Law has been, he was in Sherlock Holmes for Guy Ritchie, so he's kind of in the Guy Ritchie stable. Yeah, Eric Bana, excuse me. Aidan Gillen's in it too. That's cool. Tom Wu, I haven't seen him in a while. That's cool. He's in here. So yeah, there's quite a few actors in here that I think I don't know. I have high hopes for it. I want to check it out. I'm hoping I can go see it either this weekend or maybe Monday or Tuesday or something like that. But
Maybe I'll take the wife. Check it out.
the next headline. This is something that's going to be kind of fun. So check this out.
I'm checking.
Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood comes to Twitch.
What?
Think about that for a minute. This is a TV show that you and I grew up with in the 80s.
Is it the Mr. Rogers of Would You Be My Neighbor?
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Twitch will be hosting a Mr. Rogers Neighborhood Marathon for 18 days starting on May 15th at 12 p.m. Pacific Time and 9 a.m. Eastern Time, which would be 8 a.m. Central Time. All 886 episodes of the beloved children's show will be streamed live at www.twitch.tv/Mr. Rogers. The marathon will feature episodes that only aired once and aren't available online anywhere else, with additional mini marathons to follow. Twitch will also be running a fundraising campaign during the marathon to help support local PBS stations.
Well, I guess if you have kids and you want some good, clean shows for them to watch. And,
Yeah,
there you go.
I liked Mr. Rogers as a kid. I mean, it was a safe program. I remember being a kid and I enjoyed like the little like hand puppet friends that he had, and like there's like that train or something.
Yeah, you go into kind of a different little world.
Yeah, it is just the predictability of the show made it just
wholesome.
Well,
clean.
Yeah, it was wholesome and clean, but just I think going back to the safe thing, as a child, you're constantly evolving at a rapid clip, and you don't fully understand things. You don't have the mental capacity to be able to properly communicate how you're feeling or whatever, but you can still identify all sorts of things around you.
Right.
And I always liked how, like, every episode, Mr. Rogers, when he came in, he would take off his shoes and he'd take off his outer, and it was always funny. He had like an outer jacket, and then on the inside he kind of had like a inner jacket. Like
how cold is it, Mr. Rogers? You're living in the snow. Are you in Alaska somewhere?
You're looking a little slender there, Rogers. Why don't you eat a hamburger or something?
Yeah, set a fire in the fireplace. Get some heat going.
What was interesting too, this is kind of a side note about Mr. Rogers, was that he actually was advocating pretty hardcore to Congress about trying to get better children's programming on TVs. And so it was interesting because that guy literally, like what we saw on the show, that's how he
walked when he talked to him.
Yeah, that was him. And so he was up there, and you can find this clip if you do a search on YouTube. But you see him talking about the dangers of, like, if you watch too much Looney Tunes or these other cartoons that are more violence oriented,
or the ones that seem like they're on crack nowadays.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, I mean, and don't get me wrong, I'm a big Looney Tunes fan,
right,
but I understand where he's coming from with that. Where it's like that was for a while there, like in the 60s and 70s and whatnot. A lot of the children's programming was based around kind of that more slapstick, violent humor type stuff.
Smack you in the head and push you down. Yep.
Which again, I still thought was funny, but I thought it was cool because if you think about it, back in the day, what other show other than Mr. Rogers had that style of programming?
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of had other PBS oriented shows like Sesame Street. That, it was also in that same vein. Yeah. But Mr. Rogers was kind of like the adult. He was almost like the relative that you could trust, that you could sit down and, it was almost like he was like the babysitter.
Yeah.
He's a relative babysitter.
The TV babysitter.
Yeah.
We're going to plop you down in front of Mr. Rogers and leave you there for 3 hours.
Yeah. I mean, hey, learn some values and morals and just how to, discover just more of the simple things in life. I mean, remember he had a fish tank?
Yep.
He had like that guy, that mailman who
was a goldfish.
Was it goldfish?
I think it was a goldfish in there.
I think he had a mailman who would come over. I don't know if he would come every episode, but like, remember he'd like invite him into his house? Like, I don't think anyone would really invite the mailman into the house. You're like, hey, would you like to come over and feed my fish?
Why, yes, I would, Mr. Rogers.
Oh, golly, gee, shucks and wow. I'd love to feed that fish.
But I think overall it's worth mentioning just because as a dad now, like, I mean, there's a nostalgic factor thrown in there. Obviously, I'll watch an episode and I'll just be like, "Oh wow, I remember that!" Like it's tapping way back into my childhood days, but also just being able to share that with my daughter now. I mean, she's probably a little too young. I mean, it's probably more kids like 4 and 5 years old, that sort of thing. But still, I think that the movement, even though it's a temporary basis, I would really like to see kind of a comeback for these classic children's shows that just really had a lot of merit to them, and honestly, it touched our whole generation lives. I mean, it's fun to kind of like poke fun at it and that sort of thing, but I mean, really, when you sit down and you think about it, it's like you could have any kid sit down and learn something, and they, no kid thought illy of Mr. Rogers. So anyway, I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
The TV show Gotham is also renewed for season 4, which you have not seen any of the Gotham episodes.
I haven't.
So that is another TV show that it's interesting. When the first season started, you could tell it was a first season. They didn't have a big of a budget as they do now. The actors were not as comfortable in their roles as they are now. I would say by season 2, though, things were certainly starting to pick up, and there are certain actors in that show who just were perfect for the roles. And so the network shared the news in a post on the show's official Twitter account saying, "Are you ready to return to Gotham? Retweet if you're excited for season 4." So I'm pumped about that. I'm actually behind on that, as I mentioned earlier, because of being a parent, but I'm getting back into it again. So that's something that maybe I'll Shanghai you into, and you can you can get caught up with.
Be a Gotham binge night.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about this in a bit, but I met one of the.
I was just about to say, you met the guy who was the Penguin.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep. So we'll talk more about that in a bit. But the final little piece of news I thought was really worth mentioning was that scientists have named a newly discovered dinosaur species.
Oh, I read about this.
After the Ghostbusters villain. Did you read about this? There have been multiple dinosaur headlines, but scientists from the Royal Ontario Museum have named a newly discovered dinosaur species after the Ghostbusters villain Zool, which is the dog. You remember it was what Dana turned into?
Right.
All right. So she's a dog. Is that whole scene? I mean, I think it's really fitting considering one of the best lines in the film is, "Back off, man. I'm a scientist." It was kind of cool, like they did that. So, and was that the headline that you were thinking of, or was
actually
there...
no? I think the one I was thinking of. I don't have the article on my phone or anything, but these archaeologists discovered this dinosaur, this vegetarian dinosaur,
Mm-hmm.
a vegetarius, a vegetarisaurus, and the thing was perfectly preserved.
Yeah.
And so they were like accurately able to scan the thing and get an exact mold of how it would look because of how well it was preserved.
Yeah, that's blowing up on Facebook right now.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I think that one is different than this other one.
Yeah, it sounded different.
I just love the fact that they named it after Zool. That's just great. Oh, well, that's about it for movie news. Even though there really wasn't much movie news, it's more kind of like movie, TV / pop culture news. But let's go to the main topic at hand, which is the fact that we have yet to talk. Oh, who's that? Who's
sorry.
Calling you?
That's the girlfriend.
Uh-huh.
Hi, honey.
Yeah, see how it is. Get off the phone.
All right, let me send a message here.
We'll all wait for you.
Podcasting. ... Send. I'm ready.
Okay.
It's funny. All right. Thought I had Do Not Disturb on, but apparently I didn't.
Is it on now, Steve?
It is on now.
What I have to put up with.
I'm so sorry, Russ. Won't you ever forgive me?
Yes. So, this year, and we've talked about this briefly in a previous episode, but we haven't had a chance to fully go into it until now. this year was the first time that you went to a Comic-Con.
Indeed.
Now, just to recap, I've gone to San Diego Comic-Con 3 years in a row, and
Aren't you lucky?
I'm a very lucky man. Very lucky. One of these days, I'd like to be able to take you to San Diego Comic-Con, but I felt like this was like a good warm-up for you. So we went to Dallas Comic-Con last month, and they had quite a few recognizable guests there. Tim Curry was there. That was actually one of his final hurrahs, was that the poor guy, I think, had a stroke recently or something, and as a result, he's just kind of doing a farewell tour. And so actually, as a result, you could see there were various cast members from the Rocky Horror Picture Show, like Meatloaf was there, and there were some other characters that just have a cult following for. You had Adam West and Burt Reynolds. Not Burt Reynolds, I'm sorry.
Burt Reynolds.
Not Burt Reynolds. Adam West and...
all the old guys look alike.
Was it Burt Ward? I'm drawing a blank. What is it? Was it Burt Ward? I'm gonna have to look it
Well,
up.
tell me which character was it?
Robin from the 1960s Batman TV show.
Okay.
Why am I doing a brain fart on this? Yeah. Oh, nuts.
I forgot.
You sharted.
Anyway, while you're looking that up, who else was there?
There was... Okay, well, the big one was Stan Lee, the big kahuna. That was huge. And
Ginormous.
Biff
Don't forget Biff.
from Back to the Future. Yeah. He was there. There was...
Charlotte Chung, who's the voice of Diva.
Yep.
There's a bunch of cosplayers there. Well, I don't follow cosplay other than just looking at cosplay like photos, but a lot of mainstream cosplay people were there. Had their own little booth set up.
Yeah. And actually they had... I was really surprised by that. I was surprised about how large of a fan following a lot of those people had. I mean, I didn't... Cosplay is something that has really picked up steam, I would say just over the last decade. I think it started out as being kind of like this more uber nerdy, embarrassing closet activity kind of thing. But now it's really started to hit mainstream, and I think people have realized that you can actually, if you're a lover of costume fabrication, makeup, hairstyling, that sort of thing, you can... especially like if you go on Instagram or Facebook, there are some impressive people out there who put a ton of time and effort into it. And the end product is legit. Like, it's nothing to make fun. You look at it and you're like, I'm having a hard time seeing the difference between that versus like what I saw in the movie. And ideally, it may be fun to also try and see if we can get some of those cosplayers to come on the show too.
Yeah.
Just explain their journey, explain their process of how they go through designing a costume, that sort of thing. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
That would be fun.
Mental note.
But why don't you put that on a computadore posty note there, Russ?
I will. Oh yeah, I was right. Burt Ward. Okay.
Good job.
I kind of psyched myself out when I said Burt Reynolds. I'm like, no, that's not the right Burt.
You had Snatch going on still in your mind. No, wait, no, he wasn't in
Burt
Snatch.
Reynolds wasn't in Snatch.
I know, I'm thinking, okay, yeah, I'm thinking of somebody else.
And now the shoe's on the other foot.
Oh, golly.
Apparently we've got Burt Reynolds on the brain.
All the old guys look alike. Oh, good grief.
So I am curious about what you thought of your first Comic-Con experience.
Well, initial reactions, there's a ton of people. And I knew Comic-Con was a big deal. And it has grown from the little kind of Star Trek-y thing it used to be.
Well, it wasn't just a Star Trek-y thing. It was like
Right, I
just
know.
a little comic.
Right. But
yeah.
yeah. I mean, I know I'm stereotyping it,
Yeah.
but I know it was bigger than that. But to have the onslaught of people, I mean, dude, what was that? Like 50,000 people
50,000
stuffed into this building?
sea of flesh.
Man. Like, I just thought, okay, yeah, I'm going to be there, and, then maybe, the building is going to be big, a lot to see, a lot to do. Dude, Like, that's half the spectacle, is see all these fans of shows and cosplayers and movies and games and whatnot all there. And everyone there is like a diehard fan too. So, and they're all very nice, respectful people. I mean,
Yes, they are.
I'm a type of guy where I need my bubble.
Right.
And I need, like, I'm always nervous someone's going to pickpocket me or something. And I'm part watchdog and like part friendly guy, and so I can be like, "Hey, how you doing? Get away from me!"
yeah.
Yeah. So, it was nice that there's a ton of folks there, but everybody was super respectful, super nice.
Yeah.
I'm sure I breathed in a lot of their out breathing. Which to me was like, a shower.
It's part of what we call the comic crud.
Oh, good grief, it's so gross.
Now, the crazy thing is that when you go to San Diego Comic-Con, it averages roughly about 200,000 people. So what you experienced was nothing. It was just a fragment of what, if you go to San Diego, you will experience. To be fair, though, the conference center, I believe, in San Diego is utilized more to its fullest extent than the one in Dallas. I don't think they're using all... In fact, I know for a fact they weren't using the complete Dallas Convention Center for it. But it's the same thing. You have just a ton of people there, and they're all, for the most part, just really polite people. They're all there with similar interests. I mean, I have never been jostled or bumped more times, but I've also never been immediately just exposed to people being courteous to me.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, excuse
pardon
me.
me.
Yeah, sorry
Sorry.
about that, yep.
You know, it's like, oh wow, like
No shoving in line and pushing and like.
So I will tell you
Great.
that in San Diego it is a little more aggressive. That I noticed in the last time I was there that there was kind of a disturbing trend toward that. With like if there was like some celebrity that had come out, or if there was a piece of swag that was, just all of a sudden spontaneously dropped on the floor.
Oh, great.
There was a bit more of that, which I was not too impressed with. I thought, man, we're kind of.
I guess, like, if you're in Rome, do as the Romans do it.
Yeah.
You're picking up people. That's mine.
Yeah.
My piece of swag.
It wasn't as bad as like what you see on those horror videos during Black Friday when the Walmart rush is going on, and you see your fellow man kind of degenerate into just your basic animal form. It's pretty embarrassing.
I've been there.
It's not that bad.
Been there.
But no, that's cool. So keep going. What else did you notice about going to your first Comic-Con?
I noticed. You know what? I thought if I had like a little taco truck or a food truck or snack truck, whatever, I don't know, I would be there. I mean, there's tons of people that are walking around. They're getting hungry. They're getting thirsty, and they had to like totally exit the main little conference hall.
Yep.
But there's only a couple different vendors there. I thought, man, and they were making ton of money. I mean, lines were like 35 people long.
Oh,
just for like ice cream.
They're making bank.
You're right. But I thought, maybe more vendors there to feed some folks.
Yeah.
And we had already eaten before we
Right.
showed up, so we weren't too interested in that. But otherwise, there's a ton of stuff to buy.
Mm-hmm.
The Batmobile.
Yeah.
Let's not forget the Batmobile. I don't know if that was a replica or that was the original. It was probably...
I'm not sure, but I mean, regardless, the thing looked just like how it did in the 1966 TV show.
You got to put the picture up on there on the Facebook there, Russ.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that after this broadcast.
Indeed.
Did you notice that the temperature got a little higher?
Yeah, I did.
Those BTUs all combining to generate some extra heat.
Yeah. And those people make some money too. I mean, you think that somebody, from Overwatch just saying a little bit line here and there, they got their contract and they got paid whatever they got paid. But they're there the entire weekend for the conference, and they're making anywhere from $20 a pop to $55 a pop, meaning something signed or something recorded in your cell phone, something like that. And not to say that they had 50,000 people in their line, but every time we walked by a booth, there's people in line spending money.
Well, and that speaks to just based on what you're a fan of. People go there and they're ready to spend some cash if that means that they can get an autograph from a celebrity or a picture taken with them or whatever. I think one of the most rewarding aspects of Comic-Cons in general is that you have various celebrities who make themselves accessible to their fans. Because oftentimes you're limited to just watching something on TV like Entertainment Tonight, or on YouTube there's a promotional video or whatever it is, but you don't actually really have the opportunity to spend 30 seconds just to kind of gush over like whatever it was that they worked on that you just absolutely enjoy watching or experiencing over and over again. And for them, I mean, it's an ego boost. It's like, hey, okay, so today you're going to go to a Comic-Con where for 8 hours,
everyone's going to kiss your butt.
Yeah, everyone's going to go, man, I love you. And you're like, yeah, you may have to deal with a little bit of stalker-ish mentalities and stuff, but
a couple of trolls.
Not only are you able to be one-on-one with your fans, but also you're making some pretty good dough.
Right.
Mark Hamill was there.
Yeah.
And looking at his line, his line was... Well, the only line that was longer than his was Stan Lee's.
And when he came out, too, because the entire auditorium went...
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, he must have walked out again.
Yeah.
He took a break probably every 45 minutes just to get away from people.
I don't know. Well... He had a booth as well. He had the photo op, and then he also had his booth where he was signing all kinds of stuff. And for those that don't know, Stan Lee's 94 years old, and I heard, went to the Dallas Comic-Con against the advice of his doctor. Apparently his doctor is starting to really try and clamp down on how much he travels, just because he's getting up there in his years. He's in his twilight years, and so...
Twilight years.
Well, it is. That's what it is. And you hit 94, dude. I mean, I would say if I ever even get to 94, every time I wake up, I'm like, sweet, I got another day. Let's do this. Make the most of it. So, are there any other observations or thoughts that you had?
Well, you brought up Stan Lee, and I did have some thoughts about Stan Lee. I don't know, when we got our picture taken with him, and I walked up to him. And obviously I wanted to say hi. I didn't want to have a conversation because there was no time, and he's probably had millions of people say the same things. But I may have overread it, but I saw some stuff in his eye that maybe looked a little bit bitter. And
with who?
With Stan Lee.
Okay.
Not to say that he was bitter being there, or he was bitter with all the fans around him.
Mm-hmm.
No. But... and I may be overshooting this, I don't know. But Stan Lee is like Marvel. If you think of Marvel, the first person you think of is Stan Lee, okay? But he didn't really get popular until all these good Marvel movies came out. And that's where he really started making the big bucks.
Mm-hmm.
But that's in his a lot later years. And I don't know, maybe that's what I was seeing in his eyes, where he goes... oh, now I'm popular. Like, now everybody wants to have their picture taken with me. Now that these movies are out, and now everyone knows me. Now that I'm 94 years old. How much longer am I going to live? Let's be real.
You could tell all that through his sunglasses during like the 30 seconds we were there.
Yes, Russ.
You stared into the soul of Stan Lee.
I am in
and you
tune
were able to pull out
with
the
humanity.
bitterness.
I'm in tune with humanity, Russ. I might be a quiet guy and chime in every once in a while, but I'm in tune with the human spirit.
What are you Xavier with your bald head?
Yes, I am, Russ. By golly, I am. Maybe anyway. But I read something, and I forgot where I read it, but I think it was with the Avengers in another movie, he actually had to fight to get honored or recognized or get a little bit of money from the films that are out, because Marvel Studios wasn't going to give him anything after he created the whole entire thing.
Yeah, I need to look at some of that, because I have heard some rumors about in the behind the scenes comings and goings of just who owns what and who has the right to shoot whichever IP and that sort of thing. I mean, he's not hurting. I mean, he's a millionaire. The guy is making plenty of money, but...
what's an IP, Russ? Just for anybody who might be listening and doesn't know what an IP is.
An IP is short for intellectual property.
Thank you.
So, but I could. So are you talking about like the bitterness wasn't toward his fans?
No,
You're just saying
not at all.
Okay,
Not at all.
For some reason, like I thought you were saying like he
No.
didn't want to be there or whatever it was. But
thanks for not listening to me. That's what I let off saying, Russ.
Steve, I'm listening to you. It's just sometimes I think the words that come out of your mouth are not the words you want coming out of your mouth. That's why
I specifically said it wasn't about how the
I'm just
fans are
clarifying.
being there. You know what? Listen to me.
take a breath, Steve.
I'm sitting right. I'm gonna get some water.
So yeah, Robin Lord Taylor was another guest who I was really excited to see. I got my little picture taken with the lovely young man, and he plays the Penguin on Gotham. There are so many other actors in Gotham too, like the guy who plays I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but the guy who plays the Riddler is also like perfect for the role. So I'm curious to see as I get caught up with Gotham which other characters they've introduced. And what's cool about it, since you haven't seen it, Batman is just a kid. Like the whole show takes place right after Bruce Wayne's parents are murdered. So Bruce is just this kid. You have Alfred Pennyworth, who's a lot younger. He's not as much of a senior citizen as we have kind of seen him in the films and that sort of thing. So you're watching him take Bruce under his wing and teach him all of these lessons and whatnot. It's really cool. And then you also have Commissioner Gordon, who is not the commissioner yet. Like in season 1, he's just a cop. And you see him, slowly rise through the ranks and deal with all the corruption within the police department as well as on the streets and stuff. So it's a cool perspective on the whole thing. I really enjoyed it. I was a little nervous when it first came out just because it didn't have Batman in it. And that's what, everybody wants to see is Batman. But it's cool how they've gone about it and have made the focus on just how these characters got their start, just what their origins are. I mean, you see like a young Catwoman, like she's like a little older than Bruce is, but she's like a little girl in it. You see Poison Ivy is a little girl.
What was Catwoman's name? Selena
Kyle.
Kyle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always see Christopher Walken in my mind going, Selena Kyle.
Oh.
Yeah.
Selena. That's my name. If you something, I'll make you buy me a new one.
Good grief.
That was a good one. Batman Returns.
Yeah.
Not as good as the Batman, the original Tim Burton Batman of 1989.
You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? I always tell that to all my prey.
I always ask that of all my prey.
What's the next part, Steve?
I just like the sound.
There you go. So do you have any other comments about Comic-Con?
No, you got me thinking about the original Batman.
We can talk about Batman.
I could talk about Batman all day long.
Are you thinking about just Tim Burton Batman? Or are you
Yes, I'm thinking about Tim. I've got Lieutenant Eckhart in my mind.
Ah, yes.
Drinking Drano.
That's good.
Lieutenant, is the Batman on the police payroll? And if so, what's he pulling down? After taxes.
Don't be writing this stuff in the papers, Knox, or you ruin your useless reputation.
Love it.
Yeah.
Brother, there's that other scene too where do the scene where he sees Jack when he's getting his little payoff. Brought you a little snack, Eckhart.
Oh,
Why don't you broadcast it?
Shut up
yeah.
and listen. Harvey Dent's been snooping around one of our offices.
the only part I know from that scene is you mean when you own the show, you ain't got no future, Jack. You're an A1 nuts case, and Grisham
boy.
knows it.
Yeah, he said, why, Eckhart, you ought to think about the future. Your line?
What would you run the show? You
Well,
ain't-
you're not
Go
no
ahead.
future. Oh, he said nuts boy, not nuts case.
Nut boy, yeah.
You're an A1 nuts boy.
Here,
and
let,
Grisham.
let me set the scene for you. He says,
All my life, I've been saying it wrong.
no, you've been saying it right, actually. So Jack starts off by saying, why, Eckhart, you ought to think about the future. And then Eckhart scoffs at him and says, well, what, would you run the future? You ain't got no future, Jack. You're an A1 nuts boy, and Grissom knows it. And that's when Jack shoves him against the wall And then, he pulls out his gun, and then Jack's...
The guy behind him pulls out his... Oh, no.
Don't question me on the Batman.
Okay.
Okay, so here we go. And scene. Why, Eckhart, you ought to think about the future.
Oh, when you run the show, you ain't got no future, Jack. You're an A1 nuts boy, and Grissom knows it.
Very nice. Very nice. Well...
Now we got that over with.
Or is it just beginning?
So I think that concludes episode 5 for us. I want to give a shout out to, once again, to Sean Byers and Jay Stark for their new game, Bit Heroes. You guys got to check it out on both the iPhone and the Droid. When you also, if you guys get a chance, please leave a rating or review on our podcast, just because it's going to help us out in trying to gain visibility and try and convince other people to come on and be barraged by the goodness that is Joygasm. Also, we just want to remind you guys too, you can find us on Twitter at Joygasm TV. So if you want to spout off about Joygasm, have comments, constructive criticisms, anything else, you're welcome to do that. We're also on Facebook at facebook.com/JoygasmTV. We're on SoundCloud at Joygasm TV as well. And some fun news too is we are in the process of getting our official website up and running. So yeah, where we are still kind of waist deep in getting all the nuts and bolts in order, but figured I'd just kind of plant that seed in everyone's collective ear.
Well, you also got to plant the seed that we're going to be on YouTube also.
Yeah.
No content up, but I mean, the channel's created.
The channel is created. So the problem that we have right now is that we don't have 100 subscribers. There is a technicality or a stipulation that YouTube has. So, and once we have 100 subscribers, then I'll be able to customize the URL extension. So it'll be youtube.com/JoygasmTV. But until that time, it's like that weird random extension on the end there that just is too long for me to list on here. So
I can hear Brian Regan going, that's what it is. What's your YouTube extension? It's $Q $sign.
Yeah. Anyway, we thank you for joining us, and until next time, happy gaming, folks.
Adios.